Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for those that are starting to become Tuesday. Well, I can see, we all can see on the screen here. We see the Swiss moving up. A little surprising because it did push itself into the daily sell on Friday, but we're still in that weekly buy. So obviously it was a neutral stance, but here we go again, and now it seems to be breaking that downward channel. We've seen some interesting news over the last couple of days about the dollar and interest rates and so forth, and what is fascinating is that the former Fed chair, Mrs. Yellen, who is now Secretary of Treasury here in the States, she put out a letter saying that they must do everything they can to hold up the dollar and the stock market for the month of October. So here we are almost halfway through September, and they don't want to see some type of, collapse in the financial markets in October. Not as if it really matters. They've been on one slow, steady downward spiral either way. So when it comes to the political, if they hadn't nabbed the election or grabbed the election from Mr. Trump and those two senators, their election record is a disaster. More Republicans have been elected ever in history over the last couple of years. So if it wasn't for those three, you wouldn't know it. You would think that, oh, well, the Republicans are having issues, and that's the only thing we can imagine. Now, over the weekend, we saw one of the leading Democrat senators claim that he is not supporting that bill whatsoever. So we're really coming into a situation where I see the Treasury bills and bonds lifting. In other words, interest rates are dropping, and at the same time we have to expand our debt ceiling here in the States. And so we have that combined together with no multi-trillion-dollar spending spree. So this is going to be very interesting, and I think that's what we're starting to see even more. And so there we are. You can see on J4X, you can see they're trying to turn it back up right there. Over on Chicago Quant, is it the same situation? I'm looking on the wrong screen. There it is. There it is, same situation. It's lifting up also. It's already through it. And so you can see right there, it's in the plus side. Plot 1 is 0.00022, and plot 4 is the 0.000.43. So they're lifting that up. Hong Kong, I think I did mention at the beginning, Hong Kong got whacked last night, and that alone will only add more energy into the system because, again, the Federal Reserve doesn't want to see any negativeness whatsoever. So they'll just keep on buying, as much as there was a headline even earlier on the weekend that said that it was going to start tapering going into November. We'll see. I think it's more like November of 2022. At least in my head. The article said it was starting in about 2 months. But I really have a hard time believing that. But what they'll do is they'll instead of buying 160 billion, they'll buy 155 billion or something like that, and they'll consider that a tapering. That's not a tapering. That's just reducing spending. If you spend $160 one month or 160 euros one month, and then you spend $155 more than you're bringing in the following month, that's not reducing your spending. That is just spending, I guess you're spending less, but you're still expanding your spending. So in other words, if you keep on borrowing, you haven't stopped borrowing, you just borrowed less. And to me, tapering is just a story about borrowing less. Alright, so never fight the Fed, so who cares? Money for everybody. Alright, let's take a look at it. Let's check out the euro, see what the euro is up to. That closed in a daily sell and a weekly buy. You can see it there on the fact check spreadsheet. It's the 4th day in a sell. So let's check that out. right there. There you go. That's better. You see, it's been in the sell. We've got a bunch of reds there. We're bouncing up here. Oh no, that's the Swiss. Let's put that in there, right there. There we are. Let's do the same thing. It's moving down. You can see there's that daily sell, and you can see we are flirting with the weekly sell as we speak. So we are getting some of this action here on the downside. Interesting things going on, yes. Lots of fun. Too much fun in one day. Exactly. Too much fun in one day. Alright, and so you can see we've been trapped in that channel range, you know, with the white dots on the top and white dots on the bottom, and they've kind of driven more up to the top and gone past that, and they've had a hard time bouncing off the lows. They keep on bouncing at a higher low. So we got a higher low and a higher high, which usually assumes that the market is trying to lift up. That's usually what the story's about. But we'll sit and watch, and we'll wait, and we'll see if there really is getting any legs into this marketplace. Again, when the head of the Federal Reserve says, do whatever it takes to keep it going, they'll keep it going. That's pretty much the name of the game. Never fight the Fed. Never fight the Fed. So, all right. Let's see. What's next out of this thing? And we're looking for it here. Let's go to the cable. The cable, right there. That closed in a daily buy, and looks like it's trying to lift itself into a weekly buy. Yeah, just the action here. That's why we got the little green circle going on there. It's trying to lift it. And that is line 13. So it's trying to lift up. Looks like you can see here it's a plus in the little blue box. We'll see if that holds up. It seems like we saw this last week and we talked about it last week. It seems like the cable is finding strength. It does. It seems like it's finding strength, and you can see even the super side of this 3.5. It went into the plus 2 weeks ago, but it couldn't bring the rest of it. Let's see if we can widen this a little bit so it makes a little bit more sense. There we are. So it is starting. It seems like they're trying to buy it. We see some strength kicking in. Like to see the 3 side of this gas line get going on the plus side. You see that's minus, and then you look down to plot 6, and that's a plus, and that's what that blue dashed line is. That's the 3.5. That's the 5 part of it. So we keep on expecting to see that type of action start to pick up and get going and do something, you know. But so far, nothing too real. But enough to make it obvious that there's something going on. You know, you can see that there is something going on, and it looks like they're trying to firm up. And you know, maybe England in many ways is doing a lot of positive things compared to the rest of the world. And now that it's not part of the European Union, it can do much more responsible investing and allow investing and so forth. Like they're not letting this shutdown to dominate. They refuse to let that happen, which is a really nice thing, because it's none of this makes any real sense. This COVID thing, none of it. I mean, here in the States, we're questioning it every day. We're confused. Why do they allow 200,000 people to come through the borders every month unvaccinated, and then they want to vaccinate everybody in the country at the same time? That seems really strange. Is it serious or is it not serious? That's the question. That is confusing many Americans. It's like, well, if it's that serious, then why aren't you forcing the ones who are coming in illegally to be vaccinated? What's the old saying about something? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. It seems like that's what's going on there. All right, let's see what cable looks like on J4X. There we are. You can see a couple days here of green. You see it breaking through here. So it's showing some real life in there on the daily. It's definitely saying, hey, you know, we're lifting up right now. Now our weekly, like I said, is fighting. We'll see if, no, it's on there. It almost went into the weekly buy, I guess, somewhere along the line last week and then died. And I thought I saw it jumping through it this morning, but no. So we'll keep an eye on it, see if this thing starts to turn up, and that could be an interesting sign. We do think that, you know, the product will go find that 42. That's what those black line. Is that what the? No, this was the Fibonacci. That's right. Last week we were doing analysis of Fibonacci on cable, and you can see it is hanging out on the was that the 0.61 at the moment. So we'll see if it jumps up. There's the 50 percentile. This is a daily chart. So it tried to climb up into the daily, almost hit it, and that's the green line there. That is the 50 percentile from the lows. So it's interesting to watch the Fibonacci. We talked about that, you know, how for years I've been using it, decades I've been using it, combining it with my math. I don't really think about it too much out loud, but when someone brings it up, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what I do. I do it, I'm so disciplined, or at least I try to be so disciplined. I try to be so disciplined to the point where I don't even think about it anymore, I just do it. All right, quiet day too. No one seems to be saying anything particular. Nothing up my sleeve. It's kind of quiet. I think I'll have a sip of water since it's that quiet. All right, from here you can see online, what is it, Turkish lira. Turkish lira is now 8 weeks in a weekly sell, but 4 days in a daily buy against the dollar. Excuse me, drinking some water, and for that reason alone, it seems to be trying to go nowhere. Now let's take a peek at what that looks like up on the old screen here. There it is right there. Oh, and it's flirting with the daily sell, as you can see right. Oh, you can't see. Right there. Now look at the weekly. The weekly is trying to flirt with the buy. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder what it looks like in the euro at this point. That is usually the real indication of the real direction of this product. So what we'll do is we will slide down to the euro against the Turkish lira. Oh, let's check it out also on J4X first before I get too lost. Before I get too lost. And there that is. And as you can see there, also lots of green on the daily, just like what we have. And you can see that on line 17, 4 days in a buy, and it's doing the same thing. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 going on its 5th day, also on J4X. All right, now let's open up Euro Turkish Lira. There we are. And there's doing the same thing. It's pushing down on the daily. Weekly is not challenging it yet, so we have to start doubting the strength in the dollar Turkish lira at this point. But we obviously will keep our eyes peeled. No fear. Eyes open. Eyes open. Let's check it out on J4X. Let's see where some else is at. There it is. There we are. Euro Turkish lira. There it is. It'll probably be identifying the same way, yeah, with all the hinky ashes going plus. But at this point, it's flirting with its daily sell. Just like on Chicago, right there. Well, we'll see. You know, I don't have a lot of confidence of anything at this point in time when you have such, I mean, let's put it this way. Never fight the Fed. I think that's the answer to everything. Don't fight the Fed. If they want to take it up, they're going to take it up. And Mrs. Yellen writes a letter suggesting they must do everything possible to not let the stock market collapse in October. Well, how do you fight the Fed? They have plenty of money. Just taking a couple nibbles since it's a quiet morning. I'll have some cranberries and some nuts. Something healthy there. Alright, so that's the euro, Turkish lira. And would be interesting to see this thing get into the buy. I don't have a lot of confidence. I'm not sure what's going on at this point. I think that they're going to keep, if Mrs. Yellen is fighting for the status quo to be held tight, then you got to assume that these things are going to be even worse when it comes to being stuck in a channel. And I imagine, I guess there's the election. I guess that's what it's all about. They don't want to see a market crash in the middle of the November election. It's not a big election, but only 2 states have governor's races. And let me think, what's the other thing? That Ohio race in the Senate, Congress, I'm sorry. So I guess they're looking at it that way, like, don't you dare let this thing fall down. Can you imagine this? You know, you would assume, you know, I mean, I do all the time. I can't imagine this is real sometimes. It's just amazing how real it is. I mean, we know it's real. There's 17 trillion invested into 0 interest rates, so we know it's real. And the U.S. is locked, you know, at all-time highs and just refuses to go anywhere but there. So something like 25%, like 1 out of 4 days we make an all-time high. That's amazing. All right, let's jump over to the Canadian now. That's where we usually go. Dollar Canadian pairs. Right there. And let's see what it looks like in Chicago. Right there. You see it's banged up against that line that we're watching. You know, it spiked through it one day, dropped down, but still above it, and the next day, boom, back down again. We're seeing, let's widen that out a little bit. We're seeing the strength until today, excuse me, and our weekly, as you can see on line 20, is now 14 weeks in a buy and 4 days in a buy. And today it's flirting with the sell side here. Let's see what it looks like on J4X. Same situation, lots of hinky ashy green. The lines above hasn't joined in on the selling yet. It'll give it a couple more hours and it will. And so that's where we are with that. Now Canadian, we always relate to the Canadian as something that's telling us what gold and oil are doing. So what we do is we drift away from the currency pairs for a couple charts. We take a look at crude oil, which last I saw this morning was up. And we look at gold, which again, what I saw like an hour ago, it was down. So let's check those out. As I nibble on my cranberries. Alright, right there. There's crude oil. Now let's go to gold first. There's gold. You see that little pressure on it. It's down at $87 and change. No, that's not where I want to be. I want to be right, where is that? Right there. And there we go. Here is gold. See a little pressure there. Daily sell for 4 full days going on a 5th. Can you see that there on the spreadsheet? Yeah, right there. Whereas you can see, oil is 1 day in a buy. Now they're both in weekly buys. One's, you know, oil went into a weekly buy last week. Crude oil's, gold has been in a buy since back here, since these lows. So, you got to assume that there's got to be some nervousness. You know, I saw, you know, when I discuss gold, I think of cryptos. You know, automatically my mind just drifts right to the cryptos. And I'm seeing now 2 countries are making it legal on some level for whatever. To me, it's just an asset. So I don't understand how they can make it legal or not make it legal. But You know, it's there. People are trading it. You know, it's not going away. As long as there's quantitative easing, which looks like to me it'll be quantitative easing for decades, you know, I would assume then we're going to see strength in the pairs of all these cryptos, Ethereum and Bitcoin and so forth, Dogcoin. They'll be buying them. Boy, we see the stock market. I'm just keep on seeing it making highs for today. Let me just show you what's going on there. There it is, right there. You know, this is the S&P 500 up 29 points. It's like a 300-point move on the Dow. You see the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 218 at the moment. And you can see almost 100 points up in the Tech 100 that Dukascopy has. It's in the NASDAQ 100, but it just keeps on rolling. So let's now jump back to, where was I at? I was at, we'll find it here, there it is. So we were looking at Canadian. So we see gold is, where was it at? There it is. Gold is heading down a little bit, nothing major, but still it is down. And then we take a look at, where's that? Oil, right there. And oil is up. Let's give it a refresh. There we are. And oil is up. Now, I'm not sure how that, why is that, some bad data's in there. Because we went into a buy there yesterday. Didn't we? Yeah. Line 5. It's in a daily buy. We'll have to fix that. I'm not sure what that's all about, but that doesn't make much sense. Because it did not gap. I know oil did not gap from 68.14 to an opening of almost 70, 69.92. It didn't gap. $2. It went up like a buck and change, but it didn't gap up. I don't know why they do that. They seem to screw up data in it. All right, let's check it out over on the Chicago. I'm sorry, the J4X. I'm sure they don't have that foolish gap in there. There it is right there. And you can see crude is over $70 now. And there's that strength there. And you can see the day before, see, they're not showing any major gap there. Look at that. It's down there next to the close. We'll have to try to fix that. All right, where do we go from here? Anybody want to see anything particular? If not, we're going to jump now, since we've been looking at gold and oil, we'll jump back to the South African Rand to see if that should be heading down. But with the with gold losing a little bit today, I would assume that the South African Rand is just, you know, up a little bit, just a little. It's been acting very, very strong. Where is it at? Right there. Now that's looking strong too. Let's see how it looks on Chicago. Right. There it is. Yeah, how about that? Still heading down. Not checking out Friday's lows, but it's still heading down. And you can see here in that daily sell since up in here, right there. And it's been in the weekly sell since this week, right there. So it's been a winner chicken dinner. And it's just been rolling slow and steadily down. Now, from there, we head over to the ruble. There it is right there. Oh, you didn't even see the South African Rand. Let me just show you that on. I didn't realize I didn't show you that. There it is. Yeah, so there it is right there. Weekly is dancing, trying, but look at the lines. It's coming at a very low point. Daily, like I said, is dancing. Oh, I said weekly, but I mean daily. Now let's take a look at, where do we go from here? We'll go to that ruble. Right there, like we have it on J4X. See? Still heading down. A couple of reds. over on the spreadsheet, the fact check spreadsheet, right there, 5 weeks in a sell, 2 days in a sell. So it's doing its job. You can see here. There it is. You can see it. Been in the weekly sell since here. Went down, went up, went down, and now it's making a lower high. A lower high. And from there, we drift over to the yen. Right there. Trying to lift up a little bit, and the weekly is looking like they're trying to lift up. We've been in a sell since here, and it's done the same thing as the other product, the ruble. Down, up, down. In this case, it's making higher lows. And you see the daily right there is trying to battle its way in. Let's see how it looks on Chicago or J4X. And another new high too on the stock indices. I see that on one of my screens. Right there, there's the yen. You see a green hanky. It's trying to battle its way up. You see here it's still fighting into the daily sell. You see in Chicago Quant it's turning, and you can see the weekly turning. And so I guess they see something. You would think that with the way Hong Kong is falling apart, and overall all of China, you would think fast and smart money would move to like Japan. You would. I know there was a lot of promise at one time. I even saw a headline, someone said, just because CCP runs the country doesn't mean that people support them. Something like that. But, they control it right now. And I guess they're doing their best to shoot themselves in the foot, which is typical socialist communism, right? They always find a way to wreck things. And so they worked very hard for a decade and a half to get the West to respect them. They get respect, and what do? They enforce communism even more now than ever. It's like a bunch of children running the place. All right. Last but not least of the pairs trades, we will go over to the Mexican Peso. Right there, you can see it right there. Let's activate here. Right there. And we talked about this on Thursday, Friday. When it went into that sell on Friday, I thought, wow, this thing wants to go down and we're in a weekly sell. And sure enough, we're doing it. Now, will they take out, I guess, this low right here, which was the 1970. This is a tight market. I'm impressed. It's nice to see our neighbor in the south have a solid currency. That's a good thing. What else can you say about the Mexican peso? It just seems like they have their game together somehow, more than usual. I mean, you always hear about the beheadings and the shootings and the cartels and all that stuff, but you can see it tried to pop. That's why we have those two big black circles when they popped each time, how much they failed at it and then fell back down again. And they're doing that now. Where that big circle started, now the product is trading lower. Now the question is will it support itself in that area? I would assume so. I don't think they have particular reasons to want to knock down the peso at this point. All right. Let's see. I guess that does it for the currencies. So what we'll do now is we'll jump back over to like gold and natural gas and all the energy things that are going on. See what we got going on there. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. And there's crude oil again, as you can see at the highs of the day. Natural gas Where's natural gas? Last I saw natural gas, still in a weekly buy and a daily buy. Let's see, where's it at on the spreadsheet? We don't do the dailies on that spreadsheet, but it's 3 weeks in a buy going on a fourth. Now let's find the product that's not it, it's down here. Let's find the product itself. Right there, there's October, and you can see that is jumping. It be jumping. It be jumping. So, how much is that up? It closed at almost 94, right? And now the high today is from 494 to basically 520. It's almost 26 points. Wow, that's a lot. You know, you're talking about 26 cents. It's a heck of a move. You can see we've been in a weekly buy since down in here, and we've been in a daily buy since down in here, something like that. Hasn't gone too far, but last 3 days it's been firm enough, you know, and fourth day here is really doing it again. So that is the natural gas. They like to call it the clean energy. I don't know how they figure that, but I mean, I know how they figure it, I just don't agree with it physics-wise. In a physics book, you're not going to see clean energies and dirty energies. They're just going to talk about energy, which can't be destroyed or created. At least not in this century. Alright, and then what we do is we jump over to the metal complex again and take a look at silver. You can see that's heading down. We're in a daily sell for 4 days. You can see we've been in a weekly sell for like, what is that, over in a fact check spreadsheet, that is 18 weeks now. We've been in a weekly sell. 18 weeks right there. And let's put it up on the J4X. Let's see, where is it at? There it is. In the 23s. Boy, they can't keep this thing up in the 26s or 27s, can they? They just can't. Now gold, I think we showed you, it was at 87. Let's show you that again. Yeah, 87 and change. So as much as it makes sense to me and everybody listening that the metals complex should be much more firmer, we don't get it. I mean, in other words, we don't get that firmness. We just constantly see this, you know, selling and, you know, and again, you know, the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury wants gold to go down because they're trying to convince everybody inflation is what? We can all say it together. Transitory. That's right. Transitory. All right, now, and let's see what natural gas looks like here too on the J4X. Right, it's around there somewhere. Brent, copper, gas, right there. There it is. That is interesting, you know. I think we're going to have a cold winter. I think that's what it's trying to tell us. Also, with Mr. Biden stopping instantly the gas pipeline in the States as soon as he became president, yeah, that puts a cold chill, no pun intended, into the energy market. And since he became president, let's see, it's just interesting. Since he became president, we've seen natural gas go from, ooh, that's painful, isn't it? Where is that? That is, it's getting close, that's for sure. That's May. It was in the $1.50 area. So it's actually tripled in price since Mr. Trump was pushed out of office by those odd elections in a few of the states. where there was more voters than there are more ballots than there are more voters. Somehow or another, that's not allowed to be said. So, I can't do this in the United States. This webinar, or they would knock me out instantly. But yeah, it's tripled. Natural gas has now tripled since Mr. Biden became president. No wonder they're begging the Federal Reserve to spend any money necessary. I wonder if I could read that to you. I could probably show it to you. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find that. I thought it was interesting to see Mrs. Yellen say that. We're going to search that out. For her to put a letter out like that is pretty, due to the fact that they're Democrats, no one cares. I mean, no one mentions it. It's constant political spin for us here in the States. It's like having Pravda in 1975 as the main organ of communication. It's weird. See. I have to answer somebody. Let me do this. Where's that cast tab? I don't know what a cast tab is. Where's my mouse? There we are. Alright, no, that's not it. Right there. Okay. There we go. Alright, so where do we? Natural gas tripled in price. That's something, isn't it? Wow. Tripled in price. That is amazing, isn't it? Let's see. There we go. Alright, what am I looking for? Oh yes, I'm still hunting. Let me see if I can find that. That was really cool. It was in zero hedge. And the way she wrote the letter, too, was fascinating. In the sense that she really emphasized. This is Evergreen denies rumors of bankruptcy. Okay, that's at that Chinese company. It's like their top financial institution. What's wrong with gold? What a great headline that is. Let's see, futures bounce after 5 days of declines. Okay. Let's see. Where's it at? Mrs. Yellen. I should have saved that article. I didn't take it too serious in the beginning. I just laughed at it. Who would ever imagine people writing stuff like that and actually, talking about it out loud? Only Democrats can do that. That is so cool for them. It must be really fun governing as a Democrat. You just do whatever and it doesn't really matter. Hedge funds, no. Mrs. Yellen, no. Let's see if I can find it. That was one of the more interesting headlines I've seen in a while. Mrs. Yellen being deplorable about the idea that you must protect the market. Let me see if I can Google it. It may just jump out. It really could too. Because they don't hide anything they do, which is really funny. Let me see. Mrs. Yellen. So we can find that. Mrs. Yellen tells Fed put money in market. Put money in market in October. Shift October. Let's see what that says. Let's see if we can find it. Alright, let's see. Let's see. I guess it's in zero hedge, so we should put that in there too. They're saying a few things. These are things you can't even make up anymore. I mean, you couldn't even come up, with ideas like this. You really couldn't. I mean, it invented them, because if you did, people would be like, "That's crazy." Yeah. See, Yellen Flip-Flop is telling, even if inflation is an issue, there isn't a darn thing the Federal Reserve can do about it. Woo! There's a crazy statement. She thinks inflation is a good thing now. Just a little inflation is a good thing, she says. Let's see if that does it. Fed decline. We've seen oil prices now. I don't see that article, but we'll see if we can find it and then show it to you tomorrow. All right. Let's see. Where else we're at? What are we looking at here? We're looking at the natural gas. So it's tripled. Woo. Let's widen that out. There we are. Now let's jump over to, we saw silver and we've seen gold. Let's see what platinum looks like, and copper. That's not it. Let's go down the ways. There it is. Let's see what copper's looking like. And there's copper. Holding on, which is interesting. It's an industrial metal. I guess they're anticipating there's going to be a lot of building. I mean, no matter how they turn or twist, there was a headline I saw, Democrats trying to lower tax increase. I love how they word things like that. See, they're lowering something, but they're still raising it. It's almost like a catch-22 or an Alice in Wonderland financial market at this point over the last decade. They say one thing. Remember that during the Obama years? They would say that they're going to taper every month or raise interest rates every month. It wasn't until Mr. Trump was elected after almost 8 years of Obama that they raised rates finally. Once he got elected, they started raising rates. But remember that every quarter? Did anybody in the media ever suggest that it was political that they didn't? Nah. But the moment Mr. Trump said, why are you raising rates now? They said, boy, he's getting so political with the interest rates. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. That's the amazing part. It really can't be made up. They do things that are just astonishing. All right. Where do we go from here? Let's check out the platinum. Poor platinum. On its back, it's like 1 week longer than silver. They just cannot get that thing to go. There it is there, there's the low on Thursday of last week was 942.70. Today's low is 942.20. So they made a new low. And you can see the pressure has been on in our work for a while now. All the way back there when it was $1,200 and some odd dollars. Back in, what is that, May? May. Yeah. It was at $1,235. It's fallen down almost $300. And what has gold done? The same thing. I think they come down from what, 9,000? 1,900 since May. Let's see where it was in May there. Yeah. So in May it was at 1,900 and it's traded down to what, 1,650 or something like that, or 70? 16, what is that? 17, no. So it just traded down just $200. So it's lost like $100 in that spread. It's trying to battle its way back to the original price. Interesting times, that's for sure. All right, from there, what do we got there? Okay. So from there, we will jump over to, let's see, where is it at? The stock indices. And we'll put them up. Start off with, you can see let's show you what's been going on daily on stock indices. So we'll do that. We'll go to J4X to start off with. Let's do the S&P 500, which is like the world index. No one really talks about it, but 50%, I always say, I remind everybody here, 50% of the stocks are foreign, 50% of the stocks are domestic. That makes it a world index to me. All right, you can see here, it's been heading down for days. We're seeing some strength, and you can see it's made its lows there. Now over here, where's that at? Right there. We're still in a weekly buy. You can see they've taken it down, but not enough. And we've just been in a daily sell, that's all. Short term, and look at it today. Zooming back up again, like, who cares? And you can see our work is trying to turn up there, just the same way as you can see it on the J4X right there. Now on an intraday basis, you'll see the strength in this thing. It is doing the explosion. Where's that? Right there. As you can see here, that is only 3 hours ago. We've gone from 4,484 to 4,850, right? So 4,840 to 50, and it's up 30 points. It's a lot. And you can see, let's move that arrow over a little bit more. You can see it's just been slowly climbing. Here's the London and the Frankfurt Open, all that stuff right there. You know, they've been holding on to it strong. It's been jumping, jumping, jumping. And, you know, when there's no other yield in the world, you got to buy something that makes money. That's what you get paid to do as a manager. You have to believe that a lot of these funds are going to disappear over time. You just have to think that something like that's going to happen. I guess there's always going to be a third that'll survive. But I remember when I had my hedge fund, it was like 7,000 competition. But in our category, out of 7,000 hedge funds in the United States, there were only 2 or 3 other competing with us. That was it. Like Renaissance and I'm trying to think who else. I mean, we had a 26% return for the year, and we closed it down because we were bored. You know, it's like we'd rather just trade our own capital. Forget it. Who needs to be involved with something like that? All right. Let's see. So there is the S&P 500. Let's see what the NASDAQ 100 are on in Chicago. Not that one. Minimize that. But that one right there. Same situation. Been running up 92 points as we speak. The high is what? 535, and we're trading. So it was up over 100 points. And, you know, it's acting very, very firm in there. And let's see what it looks like on a daily. Right there. It also lifting up, but in daily sell and a weekly buy just as well right there, as you can see. And then over on Chicago, I'm sorry, on J4X. On J4X, there it is right there, the Tech 100. And it's doing a little rolling over, but today it is lifting. Right there, you can see that. Still got a little red dot. We have a red dot still going, just like the red Hinky Ashy is on the J4X. And that, what is that? That's you know, another one in 14 weeks in a weekly buy. S&Ps are 13, as you can see there on the fact check spreadsheet. 2 days in the daily sell and 4 days in the daily sell for the S&P. You can see here J4X is not screaming and saying, yes, do something. It's pretty much screaming at us to be neutral. That's what it really comes down to. All right, and so then we drift over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The grand old lady. It's here somewhere. Compa. right there. I just saw soybeans. They've been knocking soybeans down in our work too. We'll take a look at that after this if we have time. Yeah, J4X has soybeans on it. And you can see here, now this is in a weekly sell. Do we have that on here? I don't think we do. Not on the J4X page. On the fact check spreadsheet there, it's not on there. So let's take a look at the chart. Right there. You know, it closed in a weekly sell for a second week. And now we're going on a third, and you can see it's trying to pop. You can see we've been in the daily sell since up here. So the pressure's been on. It's still, even with this move today, it's not enough to lift our math up, which is always fun and fascinating. Why is that? Let's change the scale thing. We want that way. Oop. Let's try that again. Yeah, there it is. See, it's, you know, there's the zero line. It's pressing down. So it's not, you know, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is not getting a lift out of this when it comes to the, I mean, as much as it's up a couple hundred points, that's just background noise. I don't think, is that 1% even? I think you have to go 350 points down to be 1%. We don't even go down 1% in a day anymore. It's so, they keep on talking about, well, you know, you should be seeing a 5 or 10%, you know, decline, and we're going to be buyers, and so forth and so on. And there's a lot of people out there that they say there's almost $3 trillion that need to be invested in the stock market. It's sitting around, or it needs to be invested. So it's awful hard to believe that they're going to find a way to sell anything down 5 to 10%, because I mean, money is going to be pouring in. It is going to have to be an alien invasion from space to get it to go down. Or a COVID-20 instead of COVID-19. It'll be COVID-20. All right. Let's see. There it is. There on the J4X. There it is on the Chicago Quant. You know, it doesn't have that buying power. All right. Now where do we go from here? Does anybody care? Let's see. If nobody cares, I'm tempted to go take a look at the soybeans. That's what I want to say. So let's see what they look like here. There's that's red wheat. I want to see soybeans. Right there, November beans. And you can see we've been in the sell since back here. That week right there, when it was up in the 13 3/4 area or something like that, 13.5. And it has fallen down to basically 12 3/4. So it's lost a full $1 a bushel. You can see we've been in the sell since back in here. All right, let's see what it looks like on J4X. That's what made me think about it. Is that I see it there, soybeans right there. Lots of red there, and you can see it's fighting to try to get into some type of buy there. See 2 greens there. You can see we have, what is that? 2 greens here, doing the same thing. But these dailies, you know, it's been in the daily sell since here, and since it's been in a weekly sell since here, it's a lot of pressure. It's only been, went into a sell here, then a weekly sell, then flipped here, and then went back into a sell right there. So it's not exactly, they're not buying it. And, you know, food, we're making new highs again today. Not all-time highs, but new highs. That just goes on and on. 1 out of 4 days seem to do it all the time. 1 out of 5, some products. I think the S&P 500 is almost 1 out of 4. I think the NASDAQ 100 is the same way. They just keep on finding ways to go higher. That is the whole name of that game. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about a market that is controlled by all the central banks of the world and nobody else but the central banks? You can say, what can you say? You can say, wow. That's what you can say. Wow. Don't even know anymore how to even relate to it. Someone someone this morning was asking me about that, and I was like, no, don't fight the Fed. Don't fight the Fed. The Fed, if the Fed wants to be long, the Fed is going to, they'll make the market stay long. I mean, that's how they work. So don't fight the Fed. All right. Where am I heading from here? Oh, we just looked at soybeans. And let me think. What else? We've done it all, really? Yeah, I guess we have. We've done all the currency pairs that we look at. We've done all the metals. We've done it all. Pretty much what it comes down to. Now I just have to figure out a title for this today. Because there's nothing really sticking out. I don't I don't remember any particular one product. I think if I had found the article with Mrs. Yellen, that would have been an interesting thing to identify, you know. But, and I'll go looking for that again. But I should have saved that. I found it to be so offensive. The whole idea that a Secretary of Treasury, who was a former chair of the Federal Reserve, to send a letter to the Fed, say, you must defend October. That is, I was offended. I really was. I thought, that's horrible. How do they do that? And it just doesn't seem so realistic at all for them to do that. But when you control the media, what the heck? All right. This has been Doc from North America. Hey, Robin. Oh, do you want to see deck corn? Sure. There is deck corn right there. It's trying, but the daily is not doing anything. You know, this is a gas 3.5 on the short term, on the daily. So, you know, it's weakening already from Friday's move. And as you can see there, same situation. The weekly is just cruising down. You thinking about that one for the bar chart? That would be a good one. Soybeans. Look at the way soybeans have fallen down. A full point. We've been in a weekly and daily sell. Check that out. That's well worth thinking about too. Daily sell from back here in the low 13s. Weekly sell, same area from this area here, 13 and a quarter. Either one of them is good, you know. It really is. Let's see. I think GBP sticks out in my mind. So like GBP strong. Euro weak. I think that's how it sticks out today to me. It's a secret? What's a secret? That it's all going down? Alrighty. This is Doc from North America. We will catch you all tomorrow on Tuesday. It's not a shortened week. Too bad. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our Dukascopy trading friends. Take care, traders. Ta-ta for now.